everyone, Adam here, So Wizard Podcast, and I have another review for you today. We got a chance to check out early screeners of the upcoming Amazon/BBC series, The Outlaws. I was really excited to get this one. Well, first off, big thanks to Amazon Studios and BBC One in the UK. So big thanks to everybody involved for letting us check this out, and I was really excited when this came into my inbox because it is made by Stephen Merchant. If you're into TV comedies at all, I'm sure you know the name Stephen Merchant. His biggest claim to fame is that he, and along with Ricky Gervais, created the UK version of The Office and then had at least some hand in signing off on every other version of that show, which has been successful in many countries. So it was really cool to get a Stephen Merchant project, and the rest of the cast was also pretty strong, so I was excited to dive in. The Outlaws is a 6-part series, and they did leave it open where it looks like there could be another season, but as we all know, UK shows tend to do less episode runs than US shows, so they might not be looking for the 5 to 7 seasons, or what's more typical on streaming services now is like 3 to 4 because you have to get those new subscribers in. But they did leave it open where there's the possibility of a season 2, which, you know, I guess put the cart before the horse, I would watch a second season of this. Anyway, The Outlaws follows a group of people who don't know each other, all in completely different places in life, as they get put into a community service program. The concept of that I thought was pretty funny. I mean, calling it Outlaws, which at the time we received the emails was listed as a working title, but since this show comes out in 2 days as of this recording on April 1st, I haven't seen any news on it changing, so keep a lookout for the title, The Outlaws. Having it be smaller crimes, putting them in community service, and that's what brings the group together, I thought was a pretty funny concept. And through the course of the show, the crimes get to be large. You know, it's not like there's mass murders or anything going on in this. The series never totally loses the plot in that way. But things do escalate to a point where it feels like a different show crossed paths with this one along the way, and they started to lose me a little bit in that sense, but I was in it for the characters. I think the characters are what's going to sell this show. As I mentioned, at times the plot gets a little bit too big and seems to outgrow what the show feels like it started off being, but there's some familiar faces and some not so familiar faces, people that I know I recognize but couldn't place. Just to go down the list of the core cast: Rihanna Barretto, Darren Boyd, Gamba Cole, Claire Perkins, Eleanor Tomlinson, Charles Babaloba, of course Stephen Merchant, and the legendary Christopher Walken. It was really cool to see Christopher Walken in a limited series, or a series. I don't believe that's something he's generally done before. He's usually just in movies. He could have used a little bit more screen time, but he did do a good job with what he was given, and it's not like he just has a cameo. He is part of the core cast. So I was in it for these characters, and the reason being, each of them started off as a very clearly defined trope. They all played a type. It's kind of the tropes that we've seen in, you know, going as far back as, say, The Breakfast Club. All of these things are character types where you expect them to act a certain way, and in the beginning, they kind of do that. And as I was watching it in the beginning, I liked the comedy. I like Stephen Merchant's comic timing, the way he writes things, the way he creates things, the awkwardness in the comedy, the dryness in it. But what was cool is these characters began to become three-dimensional. They didn't just act in the ways you thought. As the series delves into each of their backstories, you see how this person who started as an individual became this, you know, this peg in a hole, this cog in a machine, but also is still an individual when you get to know them. That was the part of this that I thought was really exceptional. And I did mention that Stephen Merchant, along with Ricky Gervais, created The Office, which I think is one of the greatest sitcoms, UK and US versions both, even though they diverge at times and are drastically different as the US one went on far longer. But what was great about that, it was a funny show, it was a sitcom, but it didn't forget to have heart and story and three-dimensional characters. And while this isn't quite at that level, you do feel that in the characters as well. And that's what kept me watching, as I thought the plot was spiraling a little bit out of control. And at just 6 episodes, there were some storylines that I felt maybe could have been cut entirely. Maybe they're setting up things for season 2, or maybe they just didn't need as much time as they got. But whatever weaknesses I perceived, I mean, who am I to correct Stephen Merchant on creating a series, but whatever weaknesses I perceived in the overall run of the show are forgiven by the strength of the characters, the consistency on going back to the comedic roots of the show, and wanting to see a genuine resolution for these people that you do feel invested in, even after just 6 short episodes. Along with Stephen Merchant is co-creator, co-writer Elgin James. And when I saw his name show up in the credits, I didn't place it. I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't know who he was. And then I was catching up on Mayans MC on FX on Hulu, of all things, completely unrelated, not an Amazon property, not a screener, not even something new. I was watching old seasons because I was a huge fan of Sons of Anarchy, and the name Elgin James kept coming up. So I looked it up, and he is a writer on Mayans MC. I believe partly creator there along with Kurt Sutter. I'm not exactly sure his full involvement, but he co-created The Outlaws with Stephen Merchant. I don't know why that kind of made me laugh a little bit, because you take such a hardcore, brutal crime series and then you make this kind of lighter, goofier one that does delve into the dark side a little bit, but compared to Mayans MC, it's like dipping a toe in the water more than jumping in head first. I thought that was a nice pair-up. You get something a little bit different when you mix up elements like that, and now that I know, it does show on the screen. The Outlaws is debuting April 1st, in just a couple days as of this recording, on Amazon Prime. I'm going to go ahead and give it a watch recommendation. It's a relatively quick watch. There's more to enjoy than not to enjoy, and maybe the parts of the plots that get a little bit too big for you won't rub up against you the wrong way, because I know some people who like that in their sitcoms. They want a little bit more depth than just the laughs, and I do as well, and I got that in the character pieces, even though some of the plot pieces didn't exactly work for me. So while this isn't my absolute favorite Stephen Merchant property, I enjoyed it. I was along for the ride. I watched the entire series in just 2 days, so it's not like I had to slog through it. By no means was that the case. And I would like to see a season 2 that maybe the plot would be a little bit tighter and more reined in. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. We have a lot more new movie coverage, interviews, screeners. We're doing comic reviews now. Joey's been helping out. You can see some of his videos on the YouTube channel now, which is awesome. You're not going to want to miss out. Also, make sure you listen to So Wizard Podcast every single week wherever you get your podcasts. SoWizardPodcast.com is your resource for reviews, recommendations, videos, merchandise, and more. So Wizard Podcast can also be found on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month you get multiple monthly bonus shows. And on a more personal note, a good friend and I have an ongoing comedy comic series. It's called Social Studies. It's a slice-of-life comedy comic. We have 9 issues available now. Very excited. We're well underway with Chapter 2. Things are still going. You can find all of our issues on socialstudiescomic.com or on Comixology, and any day now, issues 8 and 9 will be added to Comixology Unlimited along with the first 7, so plenty of places to check it out. Thanks.